Hi there, Prairie Plant Girl here. We're standing out here today by my Romeo Cherry Tree. I put this in last spring, I believe it was. I believe it was in the spring as a small tree. I think it was, you could probably see because it broke. It was about this height when I planted it. It's put on quite a bit of growth since then, and it flowered this spring and has produced a few cherries. So it's just 4 cherries, it looks like, on here. But I'm really interested to see what they taste like. This tree is supposed to be a sweeter cherry, but it's off of a sour cherry. It's bred through sour cherry shrubs. So they say it's good for fresh eating, but also pretty good for baking as well. And the fruit has gotten quite deep in color. And I'd like to try one before the birds get them, because like I said, there's only a couple here. There's a few more down lower. Down here you can see the difference in color here between the ripe and the less ripe. So these are supposed to be ripe in August, and it's near the end of July now, mid to end July. So it might not be quite ready yet, but I wanted to give them a try. So let's see. This one has just a little bit of light streaking on this side yet, so maybe it wasn't quite ready, but we'll find out. It has, I think it's not quite ripe. You can taste that little bit of sour there, but there is definitely a sweetness to it. And yeah, it's pretty tasty. Has a good sized pit in it. So that's the pit. If you can see that in comparison to the fruit there. So it's, I don't know, about a third to a quarter the size of the fruit is the pit. But it's pretty tasty. You could definitely eat those fresh. I'm going to take you around to what got me started with these kind of cherry trees. I have one that I've grown from a cutting, several years old. It has a pretty shady space. It doesn't get cared for very well, but it's produced a few fruit for me this year. So let's go have a look at it and just see what that looks like compared to these. Okay, so here's the tree I was talking about here. I believe this is a Manchurian cherry, or sometimes you see it listed as an Amur or a Manchurian cherry, and it's a much more sour cherry. It's really good for baking. It produces good sized fruit. So let's see if I can find one for you to look at. So hopefully you can see this one right here. So it's a pretty red in color, and it's a fair bit smaller than the other one, but still a good size. There are a few more on this tree, but they're up quite a bit higher, leaning into the neighbor's yard actually. I have this tree way too close to the fence for some reason. You can see a few hanging there in this tree. There's a few more right here. That's how they start out. And there are a few, oops, up in there. I don't know how well you can see them through the leaves. So you can see here. Here's a little bit larger one that I just pulled off. I had to really stretch into the neighbors over the fence there to grab it. And you can see this one has grown just that little bit larger. They're both about this color here. So there it is, a little bit closer. And let's go compare it to the Romeo. Okay, so we're back over by the Romeo. So this is the one off the Amur cherry tree. And this is how I would normally pick them off of that tree. And the parent tree for that one, I used to get gallons of these, and I would make pies every year with them, and sauces. They're very close to the ripe point. At this point, the birds usually start taking them. You can see the Romeo gets much darker in color, think this one might be even darker. And this one, I'm going to bite into it for you, and I might make a face because they are quite a bit more sour. Yeah, they're sour. They're juicy. The inside is this yellow color. It's almost like a plum inside. They're softer fruit, so it's, like I said, it's almost like a plum texture inside. It has a thick skin. But like I said, they're really good if you want a tree for making like pies and jams or sauces and things with. That Manchurian or a Romeo Cherry does work well. It gets pretty large, and it seems to be prone to disease. The trunks will crack and they'll get diseased quite easily in those trees. All cherries do have some tendency to that. Now this, hopefully you can see there, the inside of this is much redder and firmer. It doesn't have quite that same kind of plumness to it, but it's still a good cherry, and it is still similar to that sour cherry inside. Definitely sweeter, definitely more likely to come out and eat these just off the tree than I would be to eat the others. So this is one of the new introductions that the University of Saskatchewan has been working on. It's in the Romance series of cherries. This is my oldest tree out of that series. You may have seen a video where I also have a Juliet and a Cupid. And I believe those two are supposed to be even just a slightly bit sweeter than this one. So I'm excited to see in the coming years how well they do and what they taste like. But for now, looks like my Romeo is going to start producing for me, hopefully every year. A few cherries at a time, and I'll be able to enjoy them. Thanks for watching, and we'll see you next time. Bye. Buster's on full patrol. There was a cat in the yard.